Everyone told him, just work harder and you'll succeed. So he did. He woke up before the sun, slept after midnight. He skipped birthdays, he missed weddings, he even lost friends. And still, he failed. Not just once, not twice, over and over and over again. This is a story about a man who did everything right, but got everything wrong. In a small, forgotten village, there lived a man named Daniel. Now, Daniel wasn't lazy. In fact, if you asked anyone in the village, they'd tell you he was the hardest working person they had ever met. While others took their well-deserved rest, Daniel was out in the fields, working. While others were sound asleep, Daniel was awake, planning his next move. And while others complained about their troubles, Daniel just pushed forward, relentlessly. He lived by one simple, powerful rule. If I work harder than everyone else, success will have no choice but to find me. But something was deeply wrong with this picture. Every single year, Daniel planted his crops. Every year he poured his blood, sweat, and tears into the soil. He gave it everything he had, holding nothing back, and every single year, the harvest disappointed him. It was a cruel irony. He'd look over at his neighbors' farms and see something that stung him to his core. Other farmers, with what seemed like far less effort, less struggle, and certainly less pain, were somehow earning more than him. Their fields were greener, their yields were bigger. At night, Daniel would lie awake, staring at the ceiling of his small hut, his mind racing. He'd ask the darkness the same question, night after night. What am I doing wrong? What am I missing? He was following the only advice he'd ever been given. Work hard, outwork everyone. So why wasn't it working for him? He felt like he was running a race with all his might, but the finish line just kept moving further away. Then one season, things went from bad to worse. A devastating storm rolled through the valley, a violent tempest that destroyed nearly half of his precious crops in a single night. What little savings he had managed to scrape together vanished in an instant, used to cover the immediate losses. Soon after, the debts started knocking on his door, each letter a fresh wave of panic. He had nowhere to turn. That night, broken and defeated, Daniel sat alone in the middle of his ruined field. The moon cast long, sorrowful shadows over the flattened stalks. He whispered into the silent air, his voice cracking. I did everything right. I did everything I was told, so why is my life falling apart? And for the first time in many, many years, Daniel cried. He wept for his lost effort, for his broken dreams, for the crushing weight of his failure. It felt like the end of the world. The very next morning, with his eyes still swollen, Daniel was walking aimlessly by the river when he saw an old farmer sitting calmly on a rock, watching the water flow by. The old man had a peaceful look on his face, a stark contrast to the turmoil raging inside Daniel. Seeing Daniel's despair, the old man spoke, his voice gentle. Son, he said, why do you look like you carrying the entire weight of the world on your shoulders? Daniel, with nothing left to lose, poured his heart out. He told the old man everything. I work harder than anyone I know, he explained, his voice filled with frustration. I sacrifice everything, but I'm failing at everything. I'm going backwards. The old man listened patiently, a knowing smile playing on his lips. When Daniel was finished, he didn't offer sympathy or platitudes. Instead, he asked a simple, piercing question. Let me ask you something. Are you digging in the right place, or are you just digging deeper in the wrong ground? Daniel was stunned into silence. He'd never thought of it that way. The old man continued, his words landing like seeds in fertile soil. Hard work is a powerful tool, my boy. But direction is everything. You have all the strength in the world, but you are spending it watering dead soil. He then took Daniel by the hand and began to show him things he'd never considered. He showed him new farming methods, techniques that were more efficient. He introduced him to new tools that made the work easier, not harder. He taught him new ways to protect his crops from storms and pests, and crucially, new ways to sell his produce smarter, not just harder. It was a revelation. It was like a light had been switched on in a dark room. For the first time in his life, Daniel didn't focus on working more. He focused on working better. He realized that his relentless effort had been his greatest weakness, because it had blinded him to a better way. The next season was completely different. Daniel didn't rush blindly into the fields at the crack of dawn. He took his time. He planned. He observed the weather patterns. He tested the soil. He adjusted his strategy based on what he learned. He was no longer just a laborer. He was a strategist. And when the harvest finally came, the results were breathtaking. This time, his fields were overflowing. They were full, vibrant, and abundant. He had the biggest yield of his entire life. And it wasn't because he worked longer hours or pushed himself past the point of exhaustion. It was because he finally worked in the right direction. He had stopped digging deeper in the wrong spot and had started digging in the right one. Today, Daniel lives a peaceful, prosperous life. He's not burned out, he's not broken, he is fulfilled. And the lesson he learned that day by the river is one that he shares with everyone he meets. It's a lesson for all of us. You don't always need more effort. Sometimes you just need better focus. You don't need to suffer more to succeed. You need to aim smarter. So if you feel like you're working harder than everyone around you, but you're still not moving forward, if you feel stuck, frustrated, and on the verge of giving up, take a moment to stop digging and ask yourself this one simple, powerful question. Am I just digging deeper, or am I digging in the right place? Because remember, hard work without the right direction isn't a virtue. It's just a slow and painful form of destruction. Find your right direction, and that's where you'll find your success. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, share it with someone who might need to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that make you think. See you in the next video.